from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ijoma Onyato.
Hello and welcome. House of Representatives Joint Committee on Security again raises concerns over prevailing insecurity in the country, mandated joint committees to brief members quarterly on the situation across the nation. EFCC places Governor Obiano on its watch list, requests information about his travel plans from the Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service. Federal government approves outline business case for the establishment of the national carrier Nigeria airline to kick off in April 2022. And over 30 migrants headed for the UK drowned in the channel near Calais after their boat capsized. Plus we'll have international news from our London studio.
On business news tonight, Fitch Solutions provides stronger household spending and increased crude oil export to lift Nigeria's economy by 2.8% next year.
On sports news tonight, the league management company announces December 17th as kickoff date for the 2021-22 NPFL season, with reigning champions Aqua United playing host to Kano Pillars.
And from Abuja, over 40% of 150,000 children living with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria unable to access treatment. National Agency for the Control of AIDS seeks urgent action to address the challenge.
Security is a subject many Nigerians continue to discuss as concerns are growing over the subject in different parts of the country. The House of Representatives is once again revisiting the issue and has directed its Committee on National Security to brief members on a quarterly basis on the efforts being made to address the situation. The resolution of the House follows a motion of urgent public importance on the kidnap of some persons and the murder of a former governorship aspirant in Zamfara State on the Kaduna-Abuja road on Sunday. The House says it's disturbed by the worsening security challenge despite huge amounts allocated to security in the budget. Our correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
Once again in the Green Chamber, the worsening security situation in the country is a concern for lawmakers. Following the attack on motorists by bandits on Sunday, which led to the death of a former governorship aspirant and the kidnap of others, lawmakers in the House of Representatives are disturbed that the situation isn't getting any better, despite huge amounts allocated to security.
It will interest you to know that, Mr. Speaker, even the head of security agencies, some of the top military personnel, generals, cannot move freely from Abuja to Kaduna, even with their escorts and high level of military attachments to them.
In 2020, case was made for security, and a lot of money was also budgeted for. A joint committee of all securities committees should be briefing the House every month. If not even briefing the House every month, should brief the principal officers every month, then the House every quarter.
Meanwhile, following a motion, the House of Representatives is to investigate the 774,000 Special Public Works Program, which is a youth empowerment scheme of the federal government.
I went to the office of the SSA. Why this program? Because it's a laudable achievement. Why it's not implemented? He told me this issue is only House will intervene because he don't know why there is no funding after presidential has approved this laudable achievement program.
Earlier this month, the Minister of Labour for State had informed the Senate that 7.3 billion naira was yet to be released by the federal government for payment of beneficiaries of the program. The House is also to consider capturing the program in the 2022 budget. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Over in Taraba State, farmers are warning of an impending food crisis in the state if kidnappers continue abducting their colleagues. Speaking to Channels Television in Jalingo, the chairman of the Taraba State chapter of All Farmers Association, Mr. Baba Aji, frowns on the impact of the attacks on their productivity.
Agriculture is a major occupation of most residents of Taraba State, and the farmers are lamenting the impact of insecurity on their livelihood. The farmers are deserting their farmland in view of the increasing attacks and the destruction of their farmlands. The fear among farmers is that the insecurity could lead to food crisis in the coming year.
You see, sometimes people are afraid even to go to their farm, because if you go, sometimes you could be kidnapped on the farm, or you will be robbed, or sometimes even the herders will come and meet you at the farm and kill you and graze upon your land. We want the authority to help us make these people understand that they should follow the rule of law.
The experience is...
A devastated farmer, Tanko Bobo, is the latest victim of suspected herders' attack. He laments how his investment of millions of naira on over 200 hectares of land is now a waste because of the insecurity.
They're supposed not to move into that area until the end of November or first week of December, because majority of rice on that Benue plain is yet matured for harvest. These people moved there around October ending. They started destroying people's farm. I tried to reach out to the military. They all agree, but they are waiting for directive from the COA of the state.
The state government is not oblivious to the situation, as it has partnered with the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps to set up agro-rangers in 3 senatorial zones of the state to tackle the security threats.
The essence of the agro-ranger is to see that farms are protected, livestock are also protected. So we are doing everything possible. His Excellency is also doing everything possible to see that all these things are arrested, so that the effort of the farmer will not be in vain. At the end of the day, after suffering all season, at the point of harvest, herders will just come and destroy the farm. So we're making efforts to see that such does not happen.
Besides the insecurity, the farmers also contend with the impact of climate change. They're hoping that the government will take these challenges seriously to avert the impending food crisis.
And to security in Ogun State, the police command says it's arrested 5 members of a kidnap syndicate terrorizing Iwekuru local government area of the state. The police spokesperson in the state, Mr. Abimbola Oyeyemi, explains in a statement that the suspects identified as Aliyu Manya, Usman Abubakar, Abayomi Olaiwola, Nasiru Muhammad and Bello Usman were arrested following information that the men were sighted on 2 motorcycles inside a forest. He said packs of tramadol, weeds suspected to be Indian hemp, 3 cutlasses, 2 motorcycles, as well as the sum of 73,000 naira were recovered from them. According to him, a man who was earlier kidnapped and released, as well as his brother who took the ransom to them, identified the suspects. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Lanre Bankole, has ordered the transfer of the suspects to the Anti-Kidnapping Unit of the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department for further investigation. Away from security, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it's placed the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, on its watch list. And this comes ahead of the change of government in Anambra State on March the 16th, 2022, to Professor Charles Soludo, who emerged winner in the state governorship election earlier this month. In a letter to the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service, the Anti-graft agency requested the service to inform it any time the governor is traveling outside the country from any of the international airports or any points of entry and exit. No reason has been given by the EFCC on why it placed the governor on watch list, but it was gathered that the agency may have been investigating the governor and also has intelligence about his alleged plans to escape after handing over power to his successor. Meanwhile, a federal high court sitting in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, has entered a judgment order in favor of former governor of Bayelsa state, Seriake Dixon, on the issue of assets he declared between 2007 and 2020. In the judgment, Justice Issa Dashien ruled that the assets acquired with loans when the former governor was a member of the House of Representatives should not be investigated any further, having been declared before the Code of Conduct Bureau, which issued a certificate of verification for them. The court also ruled that by virtue of the judgment and orders of the Federal High Court last year, the Commission lacked the powers to open further investigations into investments made by the registered trustees of the Seriake Dixon Trust Incorporated. The suit was between the registered trustees of the Seriake Dixon Incorporated, as well as Chief Dixon, who were the first and second plaintiffs, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The federal government has approved the outlined business case for the establishment of the national carrier Nigeria Air, which is expected to kick off in April 2022. According to the Minister of Aviation, the outline provides that the government would own not more than 5% equity in the airline. This formed part of the resolutions of today's Federal Executive Council meeting, which also resolved that the transport subsidy payment of 5,000 naira to the vulnerable will be transferred digitally for a minimum period of 6 months after the removal of fuel subsidy in June 2022. Our State House correspondent Gloria Umezuki reports.
At this meeting, chaired by the President, Muhammadu Buhari, at the State House, a number of salient memos submitted by 8 ministers physically in attendance are approved. Arising from the council meeting, the Aviation Minister announced April 2022 for the kickoff of Nigeria Air, following approval by the Executive Council.
This is the 6th time that the memorandum appeared before council, and 6th time got lucky to be passed by council. The very quick, maybe perhaps structure of the proposed airline, government will be owning not more than 5%. Then 46% will be owned by Nigerian entrepreneurs, 46%. So if you add that, it's 51%. So 51% majority shareholding by Nigerians. And then 49% will be held by strategic equity partner or partners. If started, and within the first few years, will generate about 70,000 jobs. This airline would pick up and start, by God's grace, on or before April 2022.
Giving an update on the proposed 5,000 naira transport subsidy to the most vulnerable, the Finance Minister reveals that the relief fund will last for a minimum period of 6 months.
We already agreed it will be 5,000 naira, and we also agreed that the remittances have to be done digitally. So the e-naira will help, but also so the various payment platforms that are currently available. What we will not do is paying people in cash. The maximum will be 12 months, the minimum will be 6 months. We thought it was important to do this to give people a chance to adjust.
The minister cites various improvements in the economy, including agriculture, which grew by 1.22%, a feat she believes will make an impact on the lives of Nigerians in due course.
Now, most critically, the federal government is looking towards heightening security along the nation's railway. The transport minister underscores that surveillance cameras will be made available towards ensuring security along the Kaduna to Idu in Abuja railway tracks. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, residents of Sunny Kiri call for help following oil spill on Santa Barbara River in Nembe local government area of Bayelsa State. That's in a moment. Do join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. House of Representatives mandates its joint committees on security to brief members quarterly on the security situation across the nation. EFCC places Governor Obiano on its watch list, requests information about his travel plans from the Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service. Federal government approves outlined business case for the establishment of the national carrier Nigeria airline to kick off in April 2022. And over 30 migrants headed for the UK drowned in the channel near Calais after their boat capsized. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has dismissed the Minister of Information's recent comment on the leaked reports of the Lagos Judicial Panel of Police Brutality and the Lekki toll gate shootings, saying it lacks originality. In a statement, Mr. Falana notes that the minister's view, calling the report fake news, is a mere regurgitation of the views of a couple of aggrieved individuals and that their call for the rejection of the report is illegal. According to Mr. Falana, by not waiting for the reaction of the states, the minister has overruled the President of the Republic. He says the minister has also insulted the governor of Lagos State by rejecting the report of a commission instituted by him, adding that the federal government is not competent to reject the report of the Lagos Judicial Panel. Mr. Falana asked the president to call the information minister to order. Now to some environment issues, and in Bayelsa State, where residents of Sunny Kiri have cried out over the impact of the oil spill on Santa Barbara River in Nembe local government area. Following that incident, the federal government has directed the company ITO Eastern Exploration and Production Company Limited to halt operations in that area. The order is to allow for proper investigation into the wellhead explosion, which occurred on November the 5th, 2021, and for the safety of lives and property in the area. Channels Television's crew visited the site of the spill and provides insight into the incident.
This journey from Nembe Basabri to Sonikiri fishing camp in Nembe local government area of Bayelsa State takes an average of 40 minutes on what should usually be clear waters. But sadly, that's not the case here along the Santa Barbara River, as the waters have been contaminated following an oil spill from an ITO facility explosion, putting human and aquatic lives at great risk. For over 3 weeks, petroleum content constantly jets off this wellhead with deafening noise, emptying its content into the river, and whatever remedial measures these ITO workers are deploying is apparently insufficient and insignificant.
It had affected me so much that, in fact, lives, I think we are displaced now. I'm telling you, government should look for a solution. We have been displaced. None of my persons are here again because of the acidity of the spill.
I get this fish from this river with crude oil everywhere, including the mangrove, the seafood, and every part of the mangrove forest covered with oil.
For the lives and livelihood of the people in Sonikiri fishing settlement, amongst others, it's a precarious situation as many of them have fled the area.
No way to enter river. All this in a white way, them been they white. So all of them don't come black. The nets have they for both. All of them are crude oil, crude oil. When you enter river, cup of fish you not go see. So we there for hungry.
This in Katawaya they take survive, but now as oil pour like this, we not go anywhere. Hungry they kill us here. Because all the bush, now oil, all the cliffs, they don't die finish.
Their desperation is palpable as they call for assistance from the state and the federal governments.
This area, now maybe highest person with the manage fish, but now no fish.
ITO, owners of the affected wellhead, have offered some palliatives to the people in the area to cushion the effect of the incident on their lives and livelihood.
That particular well has about 80 or 85% gas and just about maybe 15% crude. And if you're familiar with oil production, you'll know that when an incident like this happens, the gas is the one that is really escaping. But in the process of escaping from underneath, because it is lighter, it pushes a bit of the crude around it, along with it. That is why you see today, this particular incident has not produced much crude oil in the environment. The crude oil that is coming out has been easily contained by what we call the boom. Immediately the incident happened, we moved our men in, we have the expertise. We moved all our men and equipment in, first of all to contain it, to ensure that it doesn't disperse along the rivers and all of that and into neighboring communities.
It is expected that the action of the company and the directive of the federal government will further provide succor to the people and limit future occurrence of similar incident.
From environment issues in Bayelsa, let's cross over to Abuja now, and here's Linda Akibe. Linda?
Hello, Ijoma. Now moving to health issues. At least 150,000 children are living with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria, with more than 40% said to be unable to access treatment. That's according to the National AIDS and Sexually Transmitted Infections Control Program, which is under the Federal Ministry of Health. At a press briefing in Abuja, the program coordinator, Dr. Akudo Ikbazu, and other stakeholders raised concern on the growing inequality in assessing treatment for HIV and AIDS. Our correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Ahead of the World AIDS Day on December the 1st, the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, is meeting with stakeholders and journalists in Abuja.
In the last mile of HIV response, the public and private sectors, the communities, all stakeholders in the national response have roles to play to ensure epidemic control and sustainability.
According to the United Nations, approximately 38 million people currently live with HIV globally. An estimated 1.8 million people in Nigeria are infected with the virus, of which 150,000 are children grappling to access treatment.
150,000 children are HIV positive. As of today, we have 88,000 of those on treatment, and that is the reason for the comments around the need to do more where it relates to children.
It's a statistic that Nigeria should not want, and that is being the biggest producer globally of HIV-positive children. 1 in 7 babies born globally with HIV is a Nigerian.
In many rural communities in Nigeria, access to healthcare facilities remains a major challenge, and women are mostly unable to go for antenatal during pregnancy, giving rise to cases of mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
Most people, as you know, don't necessarily give birth in a facility, so we train the traditional birth attendants to give some counseling also to people who are not coming into a facility.
According to the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, the COVID-19 pandemic threatened progress on antiretroviral treatment in Nigeria. The Director General of the agency, however, says that has changed.
That impact was more pronounced during the lockdown at the beginning. It's no longer there now because there is mobility and people have access to our facilities. Those facilities, some of them were serving as COVID isolation centers. They are freed now, so services have been provided.
This year's World AIDS Day has the theme End Inequalities, End AIDS, End Pandemics, focuses on the urgent need to end inequalities that drive AIDS and other pandemics around the world. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
To the National Assembly, the Senate has passed through second reading a bill which provides for the prohibition of manufacturing, production, possession and distribution of counterfeit goods in the country. The bill, which is sponsored by Senator Ibikunle Amosun, also provides for criminal investigation into counterfeiting and seeks to make prosecution of the crime less cumbersome to provide effective control of counterfeit goods in the country. Senator Amosun says the proposed legislation is imperative as existing legislation such as the Trademark Act, NAFDAC Act and Standards Organization Act have largely been limited, restrictive and weak in enforcement. Now to some company news. The federal government's commitment to providing an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive remains active regardless of the challenges. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo made this assertion at the 70th anniversary celebration of the Nigerian bottling company, makers of Coca-Cola in Lagos. Professor Osinbajo also commended the company for demonstrating commitment to the Nigerian people in many ways in the past 7 decades.
Coca-Cola began operations in Nigeria in 1951 after the incorporation of the Nigerian Bottling Company as a subsidiary of the AG Leventis Group with the franchise to bottle and sell Coca-Cola products.
The expansion of our manufacturing plants across the country, from Port Harcourt to Lagos, Owerri to Kano, Ibadan to Maiduguri, and Benin to Abuja, have witnessed over 1.7 United States dollars in the last few years.
"70 years of refreshing Niger" is a success story of the strategic partnership between Coca-Cola Nigeria and the Nigerian Bottling Company.
Together we've been partnering to refresh our consumers over the last 70 decades and providing moments of optimism.
We owe our success story to, first and foremost, our people, our employees. Thank you very much. To our customers, you are our treasure, and many of you are here today in this room.
Coca-Cola has a generational success story with many Nigerian households. The Vice President and special guest of honor at the 70th anniversary celebrations shares his own Coke story.
By my calculation, even if you discount 2 years, it means I must have had 29,200 bottles of Coke in my lifetime so far. In these 70 years, you have demonstrated your commitment to the Nigerian people. And as we've heard also, with repeated investments in the building of production facilities across the country, in creating thousands of jobs, but also in your active support of every aspect of our national life.
It was a night brightened up with music, dance and reward for long-serving staff at Coca-Cola dealers and host communities.
Thank you very much. Can we celebrate our recipients? Thank you so much.
With a resolve to invest another $1 billion in its operations in Nigeria over the next 5 years, Coca-Cola and the Nigerian Bottling Company drink to 70 years of more value, impact and empowerment.
When the News at 10 returns, Fitch Solutions project stronger household spending and increased crude oil exports to lift Nigeria's economy by 2.8% next year. That's in business news. Join us again.
Welcome back to the News at 10. Let's take a look at some business news now. Here's Anne Waudu.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Ijoma. Hello and welcome to Business News. Let's begin with Nigeria's economy that's expected to grow by 2.8% come next year on back of stronger household spending, fixed investment and an increase in crude oil export. That projection was made by Fitch Solutions, a subsidiary of Fitch Ratings Agency, in its latest report on the country's risk outlook. According to that report, government consumption is expected to rise in the coming year based on the 2022 budget announcement by Nigeria's finance minister. The projections were made following expected growth of 2.1% for this year, up from 1.9% contraction recorded in 2020. Unity Bank PLC has launched Yanga Account, an initiative aimed at promoting financial inclusion and women empowerment right here in Nigeria. The retail product is also designed to deepen beneficial impact on micro, small and medium enterprises operated by women in the mass market retail space. at the launch of the product in Mararaba, few kilometers from the nation's capital Abuja. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Unity Bank PLC, Mrs. Tomi Shimefu, says the Yanga account is a bold attempt to directly cater for women and their respective businesses.
It's celebration time as Unity Bank PLC launches its new retail product, Yanga Account, targeted at Nigerian female entrepreneurs. The event has been attended mostly by market women, and the management of the bank explains the benefits of the initiative.
With that account, you have access to agents that will collect your money at the end of the day, agents that will assist you, agents that will do things for you and help you to do your business better. We will also be giving you small training to help you manage your affairs better. We also have a health insurance scheme attached to this card. You open accounts.
When you open the Yanga account, it will be activated immediately and your life will be transformed.
After the explanations, the product is unveiled. Nollywood actress Shola Shobowale, also known as Toyin Tomato, is the ambassador of Yanga Account, and she excites the audience with her dance steps.
We are going to visit states and we're going to go to remote areas because we are going to go, this is for grassroots. So you see me everywhere, you see me flying everywhere now. Everywhere, in the market, you see me in farms, you see me everywhere, all this, even hamlets.
We are hoping that it sensitizes women all over, especially market women, business women, whatever kind of business they're doing, to come up and open savings accounts with Unity Bank so that they will reap the benefit of this product.
For the prospective customers, Yanga Account has come at the right time.
I know my stepping out today have changed already, and my life will full of Yanga, and anywhere I go, I will show.
Unity Bank have really tried. They have really tried to kind of take women higher.
Through products like Yanga Account, Unity Bank PLC hopes to keep providing the needed support for Nigerian women by enhancing their access to wealth-creating opportunities in the financial services sector.
It's another day of sell-off at the domestic stock market, but there's also moderate rebound in the volume of equities transacted today. Will Ebong has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The NGX market finished in the red again today, dropping mildly by 0.02% and shaving off 11 billion naira off the market capitalization. The loss in today's session can be attributed to the decline in FPN Holdings, Access Bank, Honeywell Flour Mills, Dangote Sugar and others. Now the tables turned for Honeywell Flour Mills as its share price traded down today by almost 10%. Now, it's not just the big guys getting hit here. Regency Alliance Insurance featured on the losers list, down by 7.69% to close at 36 kobo. It was really sort of a mixed picture here as the most key indexes closed today's session in the green, except for the oil and gas counter, which was weighed down by the drop in the share price of Eternal Oil. Now, the activity chart was boosted today, although not by a very wide margin when compared with yesterday. The central bank's dovish tone could be the potential catalyst to the mixed picture in the market as investors continue to digest data coming into the midweek. And that's the stock market report. And Willie Bong is back to you.
Thanks a lot, Will. Meanwhile, U.S. stock market has closed about an hour ago, eking out slight gains as the recent jump in bond yields took a breather today, allowing tech stocks to recover. Let's find out how they all closed. Watching Business News, I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Ijoma.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Anne. The 2021 First Bank Lagos Amateur Open Golf Championship has concluded at the golf section of the Ikoyi Club 1938 in Lagos. This report showcases the winners and the recipients of the awards.
It's the grand finale of the 60th edition of the First Bank Lagos Amateur Open, and the setting is the beautiful scenery of the Ikoyi Golf Club 1938 in Lagos. Golfers from Nigeria tee off with the aim of winning the top honors in amateur golf in the country. After 4 days of action and a keenly contested final day, winners emerge. Aminu Abdul Kadri is the winner of the First Bank Lagos Amateur Golf Open.
Yeah, I really appreciate First Bank because this is 60th game. It's not easy in Nigeria. Consistent 60 years. They were amazing, fantastic. I'll tell them to please to continue.
While the 15-year-old Osiregbeme Egbakume triumphs in the net category.
It was a hard competition, but I thank God that I'll be able to win, and I'll continue to work hard for future competition. I wanted better, but I'll try my best to do better next time.
First Bank says it's committed to helping more golfers such as Egbakume achieve their potential.
It is quite gratifying to know that First Bank's sponsorship of the championship is equally the oldest sponsorship of this category of a golf championship in the world. As an institution woven into the fabric of the society and indeed beyond comparison, we remain proud of the heritage of this tournament, and we will continue to show our long-term commitment to its success and improvement of golf in Nigeria.
The support is not just about sponsoring, it's about partnering with the Ikoyi Club itself. It's about partnering with the golfers themselves to say, how do we develop the ecosystem? What is the infrastructure that we need to develop around the game of golf? And it takes years to do that. What we've seen as a result of that is we've got people who have started by playing as amateurs, they've become professionals. You all know of Georgina Obo, for example, who is now on the global stage representing Nigeria and really flying our flag high.
It's not an easy thing for a company to sponsor an event for 60 years. They've been a great partner in the development of golf, in not just in the Ikoyi Club, but in the entire country.
Thank you, First Bank.
For these budding golfers, the 61st edition of the championship cannot come soon enough.
Still ahead on the news at 10, over 30 migrants headed for the UK drowned in the channel near Calais after their boat capsized. And more international news from our London studio. To join us again. Welcome back. Now, we have a reaction to the action of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission placing Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State on its watch list. In a phone interview with Channels Television, the Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Mr. Don Adinuba, says the move is politically motivated by those he alleges attempted to stop the just concluded governorship election in the state.
The entire action is irregular. That is putting it mildly. It is clearly politically motivated. Governor Willie Obiano is abroad in the United States as we are talking, and he lived through one of the international airports with his full identity disclosed. He didn't go under any disguise. Number two, it is irregular for the EFCC or any government agency at all to attempt to ignore the constitutional immunity conferred on him. Number three, if the EFCC wants to interrogate the governor from March 17th when he leaves office, you should have the patience to do so. To announce it a whole 4 months before he leaves office is absolutely irregular.
And outside our shores, at least 31 migrants have lost their lives after their boat capsized. And also, the World Health Organization says Europe is once again the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. European countries are reporting record numbers of daily COVID infections as a worrying surge sweeps across the continent, putting hospitals under pressure ahead of winter. Poland has seen a 17% increase from cases reported a week ago, exceeding 25,000 cases for the first time since April. In Slovakia, an additional 10,315 cases were recorded in the latest 24-hour period, meaning the country now has the highest per capita infection rise worldwide. A man accused of ramming a car into a Christmas parade in Wisconsin on Sunday is to be charged with 6 deaths after another victim died. Darrell Brooks made his first court appearance, with prosecutors saying further charges would be filed. Police say Brooks drove in a zigzag pattern to hit as many people as possible at the parade. The boy killed was an 8-year-old called Jackson Sparks, who was hit alongside his 12-year-old brother, who is expected to survive. Magdalena Andersson has been approved by Sweden's parliament as the country's first ever female prime minister, after replacing Stefan Löfven as leader of the centre-left Social Democrats. Sweden is the only Nordic country never to have elected a woman as national leader before. Miss Andersson, who's currently finance minister, did not win the vote. However, she was elected because under Swedish law, she only needed a majority of MPs not to vote against her. Presiding over what could be her final cabinet meeting, the German Chancellor has said her goodbyes to her colleagues and been presented with farewell gifts. Angela Merkel was given flowers and a big round of applause at the meeting. Known as Mutti or Mummy, she took office 16 years ago, becoming the EU's longest-serving leader. The centre-left Social Democrats leader Olaf Scholz presented a coalition agreement alongside SDP officials and leaders from the Greens and FDP party. It brings to an end nearly 5 weeks of formal negotiations about forming the next government. The Sudanese Prime Minister has announced a review of all appointments that were made during his detention following last month's coup. Abdallah Hamdok, who was reinstated to his post on Sunday, has also ordered an end to the dismissals of officials. It's after the country's military chief, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, who carried out the coup against him, dissolved all the country's institutions and sacked many officials, including the heads of state media, public companies and banks. The Prime Minister is still without a government after being reinstalled in a controversial deal with General Burhan. Video from the Solomon Islands capital show increasing unrest with anti-government protests reported across the city. One video shows a hardware shop burning, while local media also said a police station was set on fire. Protesters are demanding Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare step down over his perceived failure to deliver promised infrastructure. A spacecraft that must ultimately crash to succeed has been launched from California on a NASA mission to demonstrate the world's first planetary defense system.
3, 2, 1. And liftoff of the Falcon 9 and DART on NASA's first planetary defense test to intentionally crash into an asteroid.
The Falcon 9 rocket, carrying the DART spacecraft, blasted off just after 10:20 p.m. Pacific time and is designed to deflect an asteroid from a potential doomsday collision with Earth. Time-lapse video shows the rocket flying over the skies of Los Angeles. The spacecraft will crash into an object called Dimorphos to see how much its speed and path can be altered. And finally, London's most famous attraction will emerge from a shroud of scaffolding in time to perform its most important annual role. Big Ben in central London has been hidden for 3.5 years while hundreds of craftspeople repair masonry, replaced metalwork and repainted it in the biggest restoration since it was built in 1859. The world-famous clock should be ready to ring in the new year for thousands to see on the streets of London. In total, the restoration has cost over $100 million. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Africa's oldest table tennis tournament, the annual Ashojoba Cup, will serve off on December the 1st at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall of the Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos. The tournament, which has continually produced talent for the country, will have players competing in 9 events this year. The 2021-22 Nigeria Professional Football League season will kick off on December the 17th, following the release of Match Day 1 fixtures by the league management company earlier today. Reigning champions Akwa United will host former champions Kano Pillars, while Gombe United will be at home to newly promoted Shooting Stars SC of Ibadan at the Pantami Stadium in Gombe. In the Champions League, Man City are through to the round of 16, coming from a goal down to beat Paris Saint-Germain 2-1 at the Etihad. Liverpool kept their 100% record in Group B intact, seeing off Porto. Edin Dzeko put Inter Milan to within touching distance as they beat Shakhtar Donetsk. Real Madrid defeated FC Sheriff 3-0. And that's a wrap on sports news.
Thanks a lot, Ayotunde. And the main news again. The House of Representatives today raised concerns over the prevailing insecurity in the country and mandated its joint committees on security to brief members quarterly on the situation across the nation. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Do have a good night.